From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
A new report by a leading economist has found a litany of issues with how the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium has been handled. It's outlined cost blowouts, a lack of community consultation and a dud deal with the AFL, which has seen the state government come under intense backlash from its political opponents.
Not a single shovel has hit the ground on the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium precinct, but the divisive project is already showing signs of mismanagement, according to a damning report by a leading economist.
The kind of debt obligation that the stadium is likely to produce is not $375 million as the government says, but around $700 million.
Finding the overall price tag for the development is estimated to exceed more than $1 billion. Dr. Gruen also outlining a series of other issues. The decision to locate the stadium at Macquarie Point was made in haste and is likely the wrong site. The requirement for a stadium before the Tassie Devils can enter the AFL and an unrealistic timeline for the project. While it supports a new stadium, the opposition is calling on the Premier to front up about how much taxpayers will need to shell out for the current plans.
He made a commitment around $375 million, not a red cent more.
While the Greens say Dr. Gruen's findings are further proof the precinct should be scrapped.
The stadium is the wrong priority in the wrong location for Tasmanians.
The report, vindication for Jackie Lambie Network MP Andrew Jenner, who negotiated having it commissioned.
We're here to spend money prudently, not just willy-nilly.
The government not facing cameras to take questions, but says it's moving ahead with the development, though the economists suggest they hit the brakes.
They need to take their time. They need to focus on what they really, really want.
The AFL has also been contacted for comment. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
The opposition's claims it's high time the government update Tasmanians on the leasing process for the Spirit of Tasmania 4, which has been mothballed in Scotland for a month. Labor says the vessel has racked up nearly $600,000 in costs while it remains idle on the other side of the world.
At what point is the government going to spend a certain dollar figure on storing the spirits overseas where it actually gives up the ghost and says it's probably time to bring them home?
The government says leasing and charter options are still being explored, with TT Line to provide advice on the process by the end of the month. The slug from Snug has become the first Tasmanian to make an Australian Test debut in more than a decade. Bo Webster's old club watching on as his parents made a last-minute dash to be at the ground just in time to see their son handed his baggy green.
The moment any young cricketer dreams of. In the middle of the SCG, Bo Webster dons his baggy green.
Another Tasmanian boy making his debut for Australia, and we see here Mark Waugh presenting him with his baggy green cap. I mean, what a special moment.
For Mum and Dad, Tina and Rod, it was a mad dash from Hobart to Sydney, calling on a friend to make a last-minute request on social media in desperate need of a house sitter.
We needed some babysitters for our black Labradors, so luckily we've got a saviour there and they're getting well looked after.
Making it in time to see their son become Test player number 469.
His parents and my parents flew last minute last night to be there for this special moment, so yeah, it was just incredible. There was a few tears, but yeah, just so emotional.
For his former club, it might not be the front row at the SCG, but the big screen at his old club rooms is a pretty close second.
It's pretty cool seeing him on the big screen at the SCG now when he was out here once upon a time playing cricket for the Knights.
Pretty cool watching someone from the club that you play at to play Test cricket.
From backyard cricket at home in Snug, starting at the Kingborough Knights at age 12 to making his Australian Test debut at 31.
It just gives real life proof that you can make it. Bo has a lot of talent, but obviously a lot of hard work and dedication.
He's always had the potential and he's had a couple of really good seasons, so yeah, great for him to get an opportunity.
Webster's call-up receiving nothing but love from his former teammates.
He's one of my best mates, so yeah, over the moon. It's amazing for a Tasmanian to be playing a Test match, and I think it's great for the young players of Tasmania to look up to Bo.
And from a former Australian Test captain and fellow Tasmanian.
Thoroughly deserved. I think Bo's been amazing for Tasmania for the last 3 years and has almost demanded selection.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian police have expressed growing frustration after searches were launched overnight for 3 more missing hikers. The latest, a man in his 50s, was found this morning and rescued by the Westpac helicopter. He'd failed to return from a day walk on the South Coast track near Cockle Creek. And 2 interstate walkers who went missing at the hazards in Freycinet National Park were escorted to safety by search crews shortly after midnight. Calls to fix a notorious highway intersection have been reignited by a local council. It comes in the wake of a serious crash earlier this week, which saw 8 people taken to hospital, 2 in a critical condition.
An intersection infamous in the eyes of locals, connecting onto the main highway between Devonport and Launceston. Christmas Hills Road has been the site of many crashes, minor, major and fatal.
You pull out and you've got a bend on the Deloraine side which restricts the view of the traffic that's coming through.
Meander Valley Council raising concerns with the government just weeks before the latest incident. A 3-car crash on Monday leaving 2 women critical and 6 others suffering minor injuries. A temporary measure in place, the speed limit reduced along the road. The focus now turning to a permanent solution.
So we'd like to see the speed limit pulled back to potentially 80 on one side of the road.
Upgrades to the Bass Highway are on the way, designs expected in the coming months. The government says there are plans to widen the highway here at Christmas Hills Road and install a flexible safety barrier, hoping it'll help prevent future crashes. But construction wouldn't begin until at least 2026. For some, not soon enough.
We really want those to be brought forward as soon as possible because we certainly do not want any more accidents occurring at that intersection.
Both parties set to meet next week, safety the goal. Zeke Gaffney, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, near record crowds have had their say on the best tastes at this year's Taste of Summer Festival, and it seems they prefer pasta. Not just any pasta, this delight is handmade by 84-year-old Nonna Dina, matriarch of vendor Pizzerani's Cucina, which is a family affair.
I've got my mum and my nonna, I've also got my partner and my beautiful team of friends and family, and yeah, it's been incredible.
More than 70,000 people have already passed through Tastes Gates. The festival will come to a rocking close tomorrow night with flashback band Forever 80s. A piece of Tasmania's maritime history is no more after washing up on rocks off Clifton Beach. The former Cray boat ran aground on New Year's Day after experiencing engine troubles, and while those on board were rescued, the vessel couldn't be salvaged.
An unceremonious end for a vessel that has a storied local history, disintegrating against rocks near Clifton Beach.
It's really sad on multiple levels. Obviously the boat itself is highly significant.
The subject of the safe rescue of 4 people on New Year's Day, rescuing the Parappa, has not been possible. Seen here on the day it ran aground, its hue and pine hull has been no match for Tasmania's waves. What's left is mere flotsam after more than a century of plying these same waters.
A boat like Parappa represented the very best of modern design when she was built in 1915.
Built in Trevellyn in 1915, Parappa was a Cray boat, not just good at its craft but also swift, winning the Derwent fishing boat race in 1919. It spent years with the Jaeger family, well-known crayfishers, a period that wasn't incident-free. Jack Jaeger and his son Harry, victims of an engine explosion in the 1950s. More recently, it had been lovingly restored.
Her previous owner spent a lot of time and a lot of money restoring the boat.
That owner eventually gave Parappa away for a song, offered for $50 as he moved into retirement. Now, nothing more than an environmental hazard.
So we've engaged a specialist marine contractor to go and collect the debris. We're bringing all the pieces to shore safely. They'll be returned to the owner.
It's also a big loss for Tasmania's wooden boat history.
It has a big impact on a lot of people. Boats are all about people.
Stacey Eldridge, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, after the turbulent energies of 2024, some are no longer leaving their future to chance. Whether an unsettled year or one full of pleasant surprises, many may now be looking for a happy medium at Tasmania's Psychics Expo.
Crystals, tarot cards and fortune tellers. In case you haven't sensed it, we're at a psychic convention. Visitors eager to look into their future.
We always get more than 1,000 people,
but January tends to peak a little bit higher because of the excitement of the new year.
I've got a new job on the horizon, and I've got some travel in 3 months and possibly build a new house.
Some came to connect with those who passed into another plane.
We can have a back and forth communication and we can get the answers to questions like, where did you hide the gold?
Even skeptics found intrigued here, like my apparently bright aura, offering a glimpse beyond the surface.
While 2025 is predicted to be a calm and peaceful year for me, psychic Davina Monet predicts a stormier path for Tasmania, with fires, pollution and some wild weather possibly on the cards.
Tassie's Psychic of the Year predicts an economic surge for Queenstown and, believe it or not, a shake-up in our political leadership.
I worked with a map of Tasmania, so I just let my eyes gaze over the map, and then whatever location jumped out, I looked into that location.
If place names just came to you, it's probably because the Psychic Expo is coming to St Helens, Launceston, Devonport and Smithton. But yes, you probably already knew that.
Whatever people need to help solve their problems, we have it here today.
Sarah Van Alec, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, swapping bats for rackets, 2 of our top Hobart Hurricanes players have tried a little tennis on for size. Ben McDermott and Riley Meredith taking on doubles players Quinn Geeson and Kimberly Zimmerman. The hit-out was to promote the Hobart International's Family Weekend, where anyone might get a chance to face a champ.
So when you pick up your racket and you sign up, you've got the chance to have a hit with a player, win a hit with a player, which is an exciting opportunity for everyone to come down and see some of the world's best players that will be competing at the Australian Open next week.
Gates open for the Family Fun Weekend at the Domain Tennis Centre tomorrow from 10.
Adelaide Strikers coach Tim Payne says Sunday's BBL clash is a must-win for his team. Setting foot back in his native Tasmania, the former Test captain was met by fans and another captain, a rival mascot. Fresh off a Strikers win against the Renegade, Payne says the matchup against his former Canes at home will be a challenge.
You know, everyone in the BBL talks about the Hobart Hurricanes list being one of the strongest, has been for a number of years, and when they put it together, they're very, very hard to beat.
The Hurricanes go into the clash off 3 consecutive wins. We'll bring you Sunday Sport live from Ninja Stadium ahead of the game.
Good evening, Hobart. 21 degrees today, Launceston 25, 19 the high in Devonport and Burnie. A few temperatures shot above average, but most within cooey of the norm. Bushy Park and Ooze the warmest around the state with 29. Grove 25, Friendly Beaches 24, Lyoweeney 23 today, St Helens 22, 21 the top in Strawn, Smithton and the Islands. Mostly clear skies today, as we all could witness, just some wispy high cloud and a bit dropping to the south. Convective cloud developed over New South Wales, Queensland, the Territory and inland Western Australia, a bit with the cold front heading our way as well. Tomorrow, as the high moves to the northeast, northeasterly flow will form over us. The cold front to our west is expected to drop to our south by day's end. Those winds will generally be at 10 to 20 knots, a little stronger over the east before they turn variable later in the day. The Bureau has issued a severe heatwave warning for the Furneaux Islands, northeast, east coast, Midlands and Central Plateau districts. So up to 28 degrees in Hobart and mostly sunny tomorrow. Medina the same and 31 the top for Oatlands. Launceston, fine, sunny, 31, 24 for Devonport, 24 the top for Lyoweeney. Burnie expecting a high of 23, becoming cloudy but fine. Strawn partly cloudy, warming up to 25 and 24 in Marrawar. St Helens tomorrow, a high of 28 degrees, sunny for Swansea, 30 the top and 27 for Orford. On Sunday, partly cloudy with a possible shower over the west and south, along with an afternoon thunderstorm inland. Mostly isolated showers on Monday as winds turn southwest to southeast, and on Tuesday a fine day with cooler temperatures. Sunny and 30 in Perth tomorrow, hot in Adelaide and Melbourne, sunny for day 2 of the Sydney Test, 29 the top there, partly cloudy in Brisbane, Alice Springs topping our list with 42. It's clear in Hobart, 18 right now, allegedly 22 in Launceston and clear in Devonport, 17. Kim, I think I'll swap the jacket for a singlet tomorrow.
Oh, it'll be attractive. Don't go wearing that out in public. Good night, Murph. That is all your news for now. Lou will join you over the weekend. Thanks for joining us this week, though. Good night.